All right, it is 6 o'clock and we'll call to order the July 24th Planning Board meeting. I'd like to start with our land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epequet, Prince Edward Island, Mi'kma'ki is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this land for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. All right, we'll start with an approval for the agenda. I have a motion to approve the agenda from Cameron, second by Beck. All right, all in favor? Aye. Great, thank you. Okay, any disclosure of conflict of interest? Any of the board members have a conflict with what we're discussing tonight? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Oh, sorry.
I will step in for 6.5.
Sorry, what is it? 7.5? 7.5. Sorry, Patrick. Yeah. Does he need to step out or just be silent? He wishes to step out. Yeah, you can step out if you want, but if you just sit and not participate, that's it's the follows our bylaw. Okay, can we have a motion to adopt the June 26th Planning Board meeting minutes, please? Motion from somewhere, from Louis. A second? Angela, okay. Any errors, omissions, anything we want to correct from those minutes? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Isn't it? Great. Okay, so we have some business arising from the minutes of last meeting. In the presentations from the public, Mr. Hickens spoke about the development and the business at 945 Route 17, and he expressed concern regarding the non-conforming status of the property and asked whether the current business should be allowed. So we've looked into that. We do have the current business is a non-conforming use. So in other words, when our official plan and bylaws were adopted, this was not a use that would have been permitted on that site, but it was already there. In 2017, the Grand Unity Hostel had a permission from the provincial government to exist as a hostel. It was a registered tourism establishment. And so this is continuing. Currently there is a hostel there, and that's continuing with the use, the non-conforming use for that. So if you have any more questions, you can bring them to us, but yes, it is conforming. It is a non-conforming property and the business is allowed to exist. All right, we've come to the time in our meeting when we hear from the public. We're glad you're here and happy for you to come to the mic and express your views. You have 5 minutes, and after you finish speaking, if the board members choose to engage with you, they will. And yeah, so we'll start with Crystal McDonald, and the topic is mobile home bylaw. For the record, just turn the mic on and then state your name and where you're from, your address.
It's not on. Crystal McDonald.
It's not.
No.
There you go.
Thank you. Good evening, planning board members, town councillors, and meeting attendees. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Our request is to place a mobile home for our youngest daughter and our 7-year-old grandson at 841 Wim Road, property that has been in the McDonald family through multiple generations and for hundreds of years. I've reviewed the meeting package that the planning officer has put forward to this board for refusal and have the following objections that I'll try to address in the 5 minutes allotted for my presentation. Number 1, residential mobile home zones. The report in question tonight states that the operational plan sets a narrow scope for the siting of mobile homes, which is exactly the point we're trying to make. It is our contention that the deliberate exclusion of mobile homes from other zones and the elitist placement of them in parks restricts the rights and options of many lower and middle income families. It ensures there are severe limitations to their ability to become true property owners, limitations that are not put on in the bylaws for any other demographic. Number 2, low density housing development. The planning officer refers to an area with low-density housing development situated among farm fields and forested areas, while a drive down the William Road clearly shows the proposed resting place for the mobile home on a stretch of road that contains numerous homes placed relatively close together. This is the community to which our daughter and grandson are looking to belong. The land in question is already out of production and has been since 1990. There is already infrastructure in place from a previous mobile home that housed my brother-in-law and family for years. It makes no sense for us as a family not to utilize the infrastructure already in place on our own land. Number 3, 2 residential dwellings. The fact that the operational plan and bylaws limit the circumstance and size of the homes on an individual's rural property are concerning. Apparently, if we wanted to put an auction establishment, daycare facility, cemetery, group home, or multi-unit homes on the property, we could do so with less roadblocks than placing a mobile home for a family member. The mobile home, which is 35% of the size of the primary dwelling, meets requirement to not exceed 40% of allowable floor space for an accessory dwelling as described in the town's development bylaws. What possible benefit can the town derive from limiting the size of our daughter's already built dwelling or forcing us to subdivide the property that is intended to be shared by 2 family members, other than an increase in taxes? Number 4, mobile homes and CSA certification. As you can clearly see from the picture that was included in your meeting package, the mobile home in question is not new. However, the home is structurally sound, easily upgraded, and fiscally a sound investment for a new homeowner. The PI Building Codes Act and regulations allows that despite deterioration to a mobile home, a building permit may be issued if the home is safe for occupancy or to do the necessary work to make it safe. We have had a plumber, electrician, and multiple carpenters on standby to carry out any work needed to make the home safe and secure. However, this work has been sidelined by our inability to get approval to move it to our own property. It should be noted we have experience doing a similar renovation project with our son's mobile home. It is 10 years older than the one in question. Our son's mobile home was not subject to the bureaucratic red tape that our daughter's home has been. As a result, his home was moved to our property within days of its purchase, and he was able to move into it after minimal upgrades. It has since been totally renovated inside and out. My son's family of 5 live and enjoy their home without a burdensome mortgage to worry about. Just because these structures are older does not mean that they don't offer a safe, affordable housing option that can be aesthetically pleasing with a little TLC. In a world where we strive to limit our contribution to landfill sites, it is nonsensical that we would not embrace these homes, renovate them, and continue their purpose as an affordable option to address the housing crisis. Number 5, the intangibles. Since colonization, island homes have been built with an eye to providing better family support and community connection. One of the benefits of our proposal to place a mobile home on the property listed is the closeness of almost 20 family members. In fact, the primary dwelling on the property is the home of my 80-year-old mother-in-law. She and our daughter and grandson are already excited by the potential for daily visits and the opportunity to provide assistance to each other when needed. In a time when we are looking for ways to allow our senior population to remain in their homes longer, it's important to recognize and act on opportunities like this one to make that happen. In closing, we would beseech the planning board and ultimately the town council to approve our request and allow us to provide our daughter and grandson with a safe, economical home that is close to family and the support systems they can provide. And we would also recommend in the longer term that the bylaws restricting the placement of mobile homes be replaced with a development plan that allows them to be refurbished in a timely manner and placed in our rural and agriculture areas. We've already lost the majority of our construction season. Don't make our daughter and grandson or others in a similar situation wait any longer for their forever home. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Does anybody have any questions for Crystal? Comments? Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Christine Dunn. Just state your name and where you're from, please, when you get one. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christina Dunn. Crystal really hit it on the point there. I'm also looking to move a mobile home. I'm the property owner of 23 Lauren Valley Road, and I'm the applicant on the development permit proposing to move a mobile home onto a zoned agricultural piece of land. I've been told that mini homes can only be placed on such land, not mobile homes. However, my reasoning for coming forward today and pushing the application forward, even giving the information I have, is because the land in question had a mini home on it for several years up until just recently. Therefore, it is equipped with a well and a septic already, which makes it hard for agricultural use. I have invested significant money and time and effort into my property, including a newly constructed gravel pad for the mobile home, as well as ongoing maintenance and care for the land. I would like to discuss the images that I have submitted as requested of said mobile home. The mobile home I wish to place on the property is an older mobile home that has recently received exterior improvements, which include brand new windows, sills, fresh siding, and a new roof following Fiona. Additionally, we have set aside a budget for new skirting, as you can see in the picture that there is no skirting on it. The interior has an outdated appearance, but we intend it to update to achieve a more contemporary style before we move in. The mobile home is in good structural condition and has been ready for transport by taking off the porch as per requested by hauler, and it has had its axles and wheels put underneath as we are currently paused due to the bylaw. While I understand the bylaws exist for important reasons, this specific one is obstructing a young mother from providing her 1-year-old with a home in a community where she grew up in, surrounded by her family in all directions. We personally appreciate the property's location for numerous reasons, particularly regarding future schooling and sports opportunities for our child as he grows, as well as the convenient local resources available to me, such as local grocery stores and other businesses. I believe we would be a valuable and engaged members of Three Rivers community, and I sincerely hope that those present today share this sentiment. Thank you all for taking the time to hear my concerns.
Anybody have any questions, comments? Thank you, appreciate it. All right, Mr. Hicken? Welcome.
Good evening, Charlie Hicken from Albion. I wish to speak in support of a development permit for Lauren and Crystal McDonald, who wish to provide a safe and affordable home for their daughter and grandson on the Wim Road, close to immediate family. Planning Board has provided you with a large amount of material to consider. I have identified a number of issues which I hope you will also consider. Under 5.18, non-conforming structures and use, Section 2 states, subject to the provisions of this bylaw, a building or structure or use of land lawful in existence prior to the adoption of this bylaw may continue to exist. This was a mobile home on this property before 2023, so it should be allowed. I drove up Wim Road today and counted 11 mobile homes. I'm sorry, 12, but I wasn't sure if the 12th one was a mini home or a mobile home, so I'll say 11. Under agricultural zoning permitted uses, there is single-family dwellings, and I emphasize dwellings, and that is the only zone that has plural under single-family dwellings. And it also allows single-unit dwelling in an agricultural zone. Nowhere does it state which should be considered the main building. On May the 26th special council meeting, Councillor Donkersgood stated, providing affordable housing is caring and giving and helping hand to our fellow citizens who are hardworking members of our community and who are making a meaningful contribution to this town. I'd like to consider the points that I've made and hopefully approve this for a young family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Okay, and now we have Janice Macbeth. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm going to pivot a little bit in my presentation. I did not get a response back with a list of non-conforming properties that I had requested and the reasons why they were considered non-conforming. Therefore, I have something in my speech that have to pivot with. Anyway, regardless, my name is Janice Macbeth, and I'm here tonight to support the McDonald family's application for a permit for a mobile home on the Wim Road. I'd like to make a comparison to another property in Three Rivers regarding non-conforming use. At the Committee of Council meeting last month, I was advised that a property in Lower Montague, the Eco Sun Hostel for females only, was able to operate because it fit into the category of non-conforming use, irrespective of the fact that the land had not been used for the same purchase since the purchase in 2015 as a residential care facility. That was vacated in 2015. A new owner, Grand Unity Investment Company, took that over, and I didn't realize they were running a hostel. I thought they took that over, had it for sale, and then just operating as vacant until now. However, based on that logic, the mobile home on the Wim Road, in my opinion, is not in contravention of the bylaw, and it should also be considered non-conforming. It will be used as the same purpose prior as a single-family dwelling, and it has the same use of land on the same family farm. If Three Rivers is going to use a non-conforming use policy as a standard practice, then that standard practice should apply to all tax-paying residents of Three Rivers. I also attended a housing meeting that was presented here by Stantec 2 weeks ago. It was made clear that Three Rivers community is expected to provide multi-generational housing for families and immigrants that may live in Three Rivers in the future. I asked specifically the presenter who the target market was for, and he said immigrants. So I'm not wrong there. Multi-generational. Multi-generational means grandparents, parents, and children. So we're being told as resident taxpayers that we're responsible to build housing for newcomers into our community. Yet we're denying a request for a multi-generational family on a family farm on the Wim Road. So I can't really wrap my head around that. But it's no expense to us as taxpayers. So they're going to do what they're going to do. It doesn't cost us anything. Yet we're expected to provide homes for folks that, I guess, don't have the same ability maybe to work, which I don't understand, because that's the Canada that we know. Canada was built on hard work and generations of families. And they have their own success stories. And nobody else relied on us for that. These folks aren't relying on anything except for a yes from this council and planning board. The services are there, the plumbing, the hydro. Yeah, I can't understand it. In summary, I feel there should be consistency and fairness in the application of the bylaws. Maybe then people in this community will feel like they're being treated fairly on the same playing field and living in an inclusive, welcoming community.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. Let's move to 7.1. This application concerns the erection of a single-unit dwelling located at 22 Grafton Street, Georgetown, PID 10688. The key planning issues associated with this proposal are considered to be the official plan policies concerning housing development, compliance with the development bylaw. The single-unit dwelling is a 2-bedroom, 1-story house. The single-unit dwelling will fit in with the character along Grafton Street. The property is zoned high-density residential R3. This section of Grafton Street features 1- and 2-story single-unit dwellings and will fit in with the surrounding properties. The proposal is recommended for approval subject to permit conditions, which include 12-month permit expiry, revisions, silt control, and approved plans. And Therefore, the planning technician recommends, the planning board recommend to mayor and council to approve the special use permit for an 876 square foot single dwelling unit with a 32 square foot front covered porch and a 454 square foot rear deck located at 22 Grafton Street, Georgetown, PID 170688. Condition 1, the permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. 2, any proposed changes or revisions to the approved plans must be submitted to the development officer for approval. 3, prior to construction and prior to the establishment of a lawn, silt controls in the form of numerous straw bale filters shall be in the drainage routes. 4, the following constitutes the approved plans. The development permit application form received June 20th, 2025. Elevation and floor plans received June 20th, 2025. And the drainage plan and site plan dated July 9th, 2025. Okay, can I have a motion to put this on the floor, please? Cameron, second. Louis? Okay. So the reason this comes to planning board is because the size of the building? Is that,
I can
Go
speak
ahead.
to that, Chair. So the reason this is coming to planning board is it's in a high density zone. So
Okay,
we're prioritizing high density, but this is mostly single family dwellings in
Okay.
this area, so.
sorry, yep. Any comments, questions? Cameron?
I see the drainage or silt seems to be going to the back corner of the property. Just wondering, is that affecting the neighbor in any way, or?
Go ahead.
So I can speak to that. There's no neighbors currently beside this property, so it's a low-lying piece of land there. Yeah, and then there's the trail bed beside it.
Up microphone, please.
I'm going to be in favor of this application going forward, but it just occurs to me that if this is a high-density area, and you get into that little situation where all of a sudden you've got apartment blocks and triplexes, and in the middle of this, there's this little tiny house, you know, and the developer wants to, the new developer wants to expand his business and stuff like that. It's always seemed to me a little strange. I saw it in Edmonton, I've seen it in Calgary and other towns, where, it goes up around the building. But any concerns about that from planning?
At this time, I'm not too concerned with this property in particular. There's the trail bed beside it, and there's lots of single-family dwellings surrounding this property. So if a developer was to come in and develop this area, they would have to purchase a lot of homes to do so.
Anybody else? Okay. So can I have a motion to, can we have a vote to move this ahead to council? All in favor? Okay. We shall move that ahead. Okay, 7.2. This application concerns the sighting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days on PID 255125 at 218 Lloyd Westaway Road. The key planning issues associated with this proposal are considered to be sewage disposal arrangements during the temporary siting of the recreational vehicle, the impact upon the adjoining properties and the rural area. The planning department believes the proposed location has minimal impact on the adjoining properties. Recreational vehicles in rural areas for time-limited periods is supported within the official plan and development bylaw. The associated accessory building was previously consented when the area was under provincial authority. The proposal is recommended for approval subject to permit conditions which include a 120-day permit expiry, sewage disposal, and removal of the recreational trailer. So therefore, Planning and Development Officer that Planning Board recommends to the Mayor and Council to approve the siting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days on PID 255125 218 Lloyd Westaway Road. Condition 1, the permit is valid for 120 days from the date of issue, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from the site. 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system or pumped into a holding tank and disposed of properly. 3, the conditions, the development application received July 2nd, 2025, and the site plan received July 2nd, 2025. Can I have a motion to put this on the floor? Moved by John, second by Yvette. All right, discussion? Any comments, any discussion? All in favor of moving this ahead? Thank you. Moved ahead. All right. Move to 7.3. This application concerns the sighting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days on PID 163618 at 150 Mill Road. The key planning issues associated with this proposal are considered to be the sewage disposal arrangements during the temporary siting of the recreational vehicle, the impact upon adjoining properties, and the rural agricultural area. The Planning Department believes the proposed location has minimal impact on adjoining properties. Recreational vehicles in rural areas for time-limited periods are supported within the official plan and development bylaw. The associated accessory building was previously consented when the area was under provincial authority. The proposal is recommended for approval subject to permit conditions, which include 120-day expiry, sewage disposal, and removal of the trailer. The Planning and Development Officer therefore recommends that Planning Board recommend to Mayor and Council to approve the sighting of a recreational vehicle for 120 days on PID 163618, 150 Mill Road, with the following conditions. 1, the permit is valid for 120 days from the date of issue, after which time the recreational vehicle must be removed from the site. 2, sewage and gray water must be disposed of properly into an approved septic system or pumped from holding tanks and disposed of properly. And 3, the development application received July 2nd, 2025, and the site plan received July 2nd, 2025. I have a motion to put this on the floor. Moved by John, second by Angela. Any questions, comments? All in favor of moving it ahead to council? Great. We shall move it ahead. Okay. 7.4. This application concerns the siting of a mobile home. The structure would be located within an existing residential parcel in the rural settlement area and within the land zone for agricultural uses. The key planning issues associated with this proposal are considered to be the siting of a mobile home outside the designated mobile home zoning, the siting of an additional residential unit resulting in more than one main building within the agricultural zone, and housing need. The proposal to site a mobile home on a lot already containing a dwelling is not supported by the Town of Three Rivers official plan or development bylaw. While the need for housing is acknowledged, mobile homes are only permitted within designated residential mobile home zones and must be serviced by central water and sewer, conditions not met in this case. The subject property is zoned agriculture, where mobile homes are neither permitted nor allowed by special permit, and the placement of a second main residential building on a lot further contravenes the bylaw. As such, the proposal is not consistent with the town's planning policies and regulations, and refusal is recommended. Planning Board and Development Officer therefore recommend that Planning Board recommend to Mayor and Council to refuse the proposed siting of a mobile home at 841 Wim Road, Route 316, PID 258897. The refused plans, the application form and drawings received and dated July 9th, 2025, site plan received July 9th, 2025, and CSA Z240 confirmation received July 9th, 2025. Can I have a motion to put this on the floor? John, second by Louis.
You can, or you can ask others to speak first. Whichever
Yeah. Okay, just to say that one of the things that's come up is whether, because there was, a mobile home on this property in the past, whether this qualified for a non-conforming use, and it doesn't because the other home has already been moved. But John has something to say to this.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this one, and I want to begin by acknowledging, I wrote down my thoughts here in terms of what I want to say, so I just want to share it with our planning committee and then later with council. I want to begin by acknowledging that the staff have rightly pointed out that this application doesn't conform with our town's development bylaw. The proposal seeks to place a certified mobile home on a lot that contains already a dwelling. So there's already a house there, and it's zoned agricultural, and it lacks central water, and it lacks central sewer. The criteria that clearly fall outside the current provisions that are held within our bylaws. I acknowledge all of those things. However, I am also recommending that we support this application. This is an applicant trying to find a pathway to an appropriate housing and home ownership during a housing crisis. She's proposing to live near her family on land that has already supported a mobile home in the past. The property is in a rural area where mobile homes are not unusual. I unfortunately didn't count as Mr. Hicken did. I counted 9 when I drove down. So I counted 9 mobile homes that were located on the Wim Road when I went down there. So this would not be out of character in terms of the surrounding community that this is going to be placed in. When the town adopted the current bylaw provisions limiting mobile homes to designated mobile home parks, I believe we may have missed something important. In the former unincorporated communities in the rural areas like this, of which I live, there are situations where mobile homes do fit, and they are visually appealing and functional for families within the fabric of a community, as was pointed out here this evening. This is one of those cases, as far as I'm concerned. We're facing a real and urgent need to be kind of flexible and find flexibility, attainable housing solutions for our people, especially in our rural areas. I believe we should be looking at how we can amend the development bylaws to allow for the siting of mobile homes in these rural areas, provided they are compatible with the character of the area and do not provide a health or a safety risk to anyone. This case and another application that's coming down the road here on our list, we will be reviewing tonight, both demonstrate that there's a gap between what we have as our current bylaw and the reality of what we are facing on the ground or what our residents are facing. So I am encouraging planning board and council when the time comes to consider these seriously this evening and as we move forward. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to ask Danielle to speak on this.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Van Dyke. Further to Councillor Van Dyke's remarks, I would like to express my appreciation for his recognition. The town staff appropriately identified the application's non-compliance with both the development bylaw and the official plan. This fundamental issue resulted in staff's recommendation for refusal. So we were just basing our refusal on the existing bylaws in official plan, which is what is our job as staff to do. So further to that, as the manager of corporate services, I do have to state on public record that it is important to reiterate that bylaws carry legal authority. They bind the municipality and all parties governed by their provisions. So although I don't disagree with what John is stating, the proper pathway in the future to avoid these circumstances from arising would be an amendment to the development bylaw in the official plan at some time in the future when that time is available to do so. So I just wanted to advise planning board and council for when they do make their decision that there could be legal challenges if it's against the bylaws and official plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I certainly agree with John on his thoughts. I'd like to see the bylaw be amended so that in special circumstances that these properties that are not in highly populated areas in like Montague, Georgetown, or Cardigan, could in council's discretion get special permits, and possibly we could put a suggestion out to council that we would like to see that happen in the future. I don't know what we're going to do about tonight's situation, but I think in the future that that's the way we should go. Suggest to council that they put an amendment in for special circumstances.
It is something that we need to look at. Yeah.
Okay.
Sean?
Madam Chairman, I think what we have here is an issue where we have changed the rules on these people. Prior to the amalgamation of the communities into Three Rivers, that land, unincorporated land, would have been governed under the Planning Act, and those mobile homes would go on there without any question. And I think that is a change in our bylaws that has gone unnoticed by the applicants tonight. And although I sympathize with the position of my friend John Van Dyke and Louis, we are placed on this board to make recommendations to council that the application has met all of the four corners of the bylaw. Now, I don't know what was in the mind of the people who did the official plan and development bylaw, but I don't want to put Cameron McLean on the hot spot, but perhaps maybe he could provide some insight as to why this change was made. I can tell you the argument is that you do not want to create naturally occurring mobile home parks where you have a little bit of land and it's mobile home, mobile home, mobile home, mobile home, mobile home. And so that may be why they decided to make that change to exclude mobile homes from agricultural land. I'm only speculating there. I was not present at those meetings. But it seems to me that our hands are kind of tied. We can't send anything to council that would be in direct contradiction to what has been approved by the council and the provincial government. So although I have the utmost sympathy for these people in their application, I feel duty bound to oppose, the passage of their application tonight.
Okay.
But you can make amendments to the bylaws, John.
Yes, you can, but we cannot do that tonight.
No, I realize that, but I mean, in future, we have to start somewhere. And if we suggest to council that they look into this, because we're gonna run into this difficulty time and time again, and I think we should do something about it now, and suggest to council certainly see if there's any way to make amendments to the existing bylaw.
Louis, I'm all in favor of doing that because I think it's a travesty what these people are going through. However, you know the process. Mm-hmm. It starts perhaps with us, perhaps with council. Then it has to go to the provincial government and it sits there for years. Yeah. I think maybe they would pass it. A simple bylaw that states that the Planning Act shall govern in this situation probably would solve it. But that still is going to take a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. I realize that Danielle is correct. I mean, we have to abide by the bylaws that are in place now. That's not debatable, but we have to start somewhere, so at least we could suggest to council that they look into the possibility of changing this around and for future.
Okay, just one. Lee, I wonder if you could address the applicant's comments about this being within the size to be an accessory dwelling unit.
Thank you, Chair. It would need to be smaller. It would need to be smaller, and it would need to be on fully shared services. Our accessory dwelling criteria is very specific to accessory dwellings. Now, that is a potential possibility, as was, always in place. But the issue lies with this is a structure which is coming as a complete package. It doesn't fit that criteria. It's our understanding that this is going to be a primary home for the applicant. And then we end up with the issue where we have the two main uses on the site. So we have the two dwellings. And that's the sticking situation with this particular application, is there's not a lot of maneuvering room with the way the bylaws are written, with the intentions of the official plan. And as you know, Chair, we don't get that kind of discretion as staff. It's very specific in the bylaw that staff must make recommendations in accordance with the development bylaw. And that's what we've done here. So to coin a phrase, my hands are tied, and I will use the rare "my" as I wrote it. We obviously make decisions as a department, but there's no other option for us apart from making that recommendation. So we elected to bring this application to Planning Board for this very good discussion that we're having right now. It's clear there's messages that amending the bylaw might be key to what's going to help tackle this particular issue. I certainly would love to enjoy the discretion where I could have said yes. It's not because it's a mobile home. That's not the issue here. The issue here is that the bylaw does not allow me to approve it. And that is the crux of the situation. And obviously the second home on the site is a particular issue as well. So that's pretty much all I can really offer on that one, Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So we're talking about amending. How long would that amendment take to be put in place? Because I just think of the money they've already spent and they're waiting for this amendment. How long would that take? No idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Well, considering we're still waiting for the minister to approve our current amended bylaw, it could take a long time. Just to put that into perspective.
So we can't put it in with the current one that we're waiting for? No?
We can't reopen
Okay.
them.
So Planning Board could refuse the recommendation of the Planning Board at the risk of, we're not following our bylaws, but Planning Board could refuse the recommendation.
So do you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two choices that I see. One, the planning board can recommend the refusal, and it would go to council as a refusal, and then council does get the ultimate decision at the end of the day. So that's one. Or two, planning board can vote on recommending it for approval and vote down the recommendation for refusal, send it to council as a recommendation for approval, and then council can make the ultimate decision. So it's one of two things. So, as Sean had mentioned, staff had to recommend based on the current bylaws and current official plan. We are not allowed to operate outside of that. So that's where our recommendation came from. So I guess it's up to planning board on how they want to vote and how they want to send it to council.
Okay. Cameron?
So when we were doing the bylaws, it was a multiple night discussion over this particular issue. Mainly on definition of mobile home, mini home, and modular home. So we ended up having on the discussions and the definitions. I know originally in Brudenell's bylaws, mobile homes were not allowed. And when I was on council, the reason I was told was because it interfered with the Coast Guard communication tower. Because of all the metal siding and everything else on the outside of it. Which it basically goes and makes it harder for them to go and respond or get GPS coordinates at the time. Technology's obviously advanced. Everybody's using steel siding and everything else, so that was may have been valid reason at that time. Anyway, long story short, I looked at the two situations. So Z240, which is what a mobile home has classification, where a modular home is an A277. There is one is the A277. A modular home is accepted and adopted by the National Building Code, where the Z240 apparently has other standards that each province has to go and add to it. I don't know if Lee can explain this or not, but if this property was separated from the main property, we would still have the issue of not being able to have the mobile home there, I guess. But we could still put a mini home there.
Go ahead.
The short answer is yes, because there is that standards difference between the two structures as illustrated within the plan itself. And there are options, it's just not what's before you today. Before you today is the mobile home.
Okay, anybody else? John?
So just to reiterate my last point, this is my last point on this issue. As I drove down the Wim Road, once again, I'm seeing 9. I understand the concern here because we are. I mean, like we're flying in the face of what it is that our bylaws are. These two individuals that are sitting out here don't have the luxury of waiting in terms of for us to pass an amendment. So really and truthfully, what we are doing here this evening is having a direct impact on them. I understand all of those things. I understand Sean's point as well. But at the same time, we are a small community and a small town, and we have, rightfully or wrongfully, we have the ability in order to sit around here and talk about and move direction forward. Now, do I think that we're going to be challenged on this? I don't, in all honesty. But at the same time, I understand Danielle giving us her warning. But at the same time, I'm willing to still move this forward in terms of what it's going to do for the benefit of our residents in our community. And then we deal with the amendments at a later time.
Okay, one last word.
Just in answer to that, the fact that you go through a red light and you don't get caught does not obfuscate the fact that you've gone through a red light.
Okay. So, I'm going to call for a vote. And so the voting yes will mean we recommend to mayor and council to refuse. And yeah, so voting yes will mean we will recommend to mayor and council to refuse this application. So let's just go around the table. A yes or a no? 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 If you say yes, it's a refusal, recommending to mayor and council for refusal.
So you're voting against what's this. If you say no, you don't want this, what's on the floor to go through, which is the refusal.
Yeah.
So you're voting against it. I know, it's kind of a.
I know, it's yes or no. Yes to the refusal, no to the refusal. Yes to the refusal, okay, so 3.
Yes to the refusal.
No. Okay, so that motion is defeated. Does anybody want to make a motion that we recommend to council to accept this application
For approval.
for approval?
May I ask a question, Chair?
Yep.
So we have refused it. It is still going to council. Is that not correct?
No.
Actually, that is correct. Yes.
Oh, it'll still go to council.
Is actually correct with
Is it? Okay.
So.
My apologies.
This is already going to council, and I would say we just,
And then council makes a
the
decision.
council makes a decision. Yeah.
Normally, it would be what you just said, but you're
Okay.
right. Actually, yeah, Councilor Van Dyke's correct.
Okay. Okay. We will leave it to council. Okay, we are going to move on to I wasn't trying to confuse anybody, sorry.
So it's going down to defeat it.
We defeated the recommendation. Yeah,
The council has the ultimate decision.
okay. All right. 7.5. This application concerns the erection of a 13,600 square feet warehouse with associated car parking and landscaping that forms the first phase of construction of a feed mill at Pools Corner Industrial Park. The second phase of the project, also shown, will be submitted at a later date and it is subject to further design work. The key planning issues associated with this proposal are considered to be the compatibility of a feed mill within the area designated for light industrial uses, the impact of the development with respect to highway and environmental impacts, and the phasing of the development. The proposed development of a feed mill at Pools Corner Industrial Park is consistent with the Town of Three Rivers official plan and fully compliant with the development bylaw. The site is designated for light industrial use and supports key policy objectives related to the rural economic development, agricultural support, and job creation. The first phase includes a 13,600 square foot warehouse that meets all zoning and performance standards with no concerns raised by the Department of Transportation or Environment. Appropriate conditions are recommended to addressing landscaping, waste management, and erosion control during construction. The proposal is recommended for approval subject to permit conditions, which include the permit valid for 12 months, all work in accordance with approved plans, no waste recycling bin storage in the front yard, waste recycle bin screening, silt fencing, and approved plans. And so, the Planning and Development Officer therefore recommend that the Planning Board recommend to Mayor and Council to approve the 13,600 square foot feed mill warehouse with associated car parking and landscaping, Phase 1, at Milton Pool Court, Pools Corner Industrial Park, PID 163493, under the following conditions. 1, the permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue and is only relevant to the 13,600 square feet feed mill warehouse with associated car parking and landscaping, Phase 1 of the project as described. 2, all work must be undertaken in accordance with approved plans, including the use, location, and dimensions provided. Any proposed changes or revisions must be submitted to the Development Officer for approval. 3, outdoor storage or garbage collection and/or recycling bins shall not be permitted within the front yard of the lot. 4, garbage collection and/or recycling bins shall be screened by an opaque fence with a minimum height of 1.8 meters. Details of the location and fence type shall be shown on a site plan and submitted to the Development Officer for approval. 5, silt fencing shall be erected on the south and west property boundaries prior to and during and for the duration of construction, The approved plans are drawings A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, and A8, received July 3rd, 2025. M1, M2, and M3, dated, received July 3rd, 2025. Drawing Q180458, received July 3rd, 2025. And the application form received July 7th, 2025. A motion to put this on the floor, please. John and Angela, second, thank you. All right, discussion? Go ahead.
Madam Chairman, just a question for the planning department. Who was the planning department person supervising this file, as one has left? I'm just wondering if he was the actual person who's made the recommendations, or did it come from somebody else in the planning department?
No, I think he has a conflict. It was from Lee and reviewed by Danielle. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, he has a family conflict. It's a relative, so he's stepped aside from this. Anybody comments, questions, concerns? Going once, ready for the question? All in favor? All right, that is moved on to council. Okay, item 7.6. Oh, yeah. This application concerns the siting of a mobile home. The structure would be located within an existing residential parcel in a rural settlement area and within the land zoned for agriculture uses. The key planning issues associated with this proposal are considered to be the siting of a mobile home outside of the designated mobile home zoning and the housing need. While the need for housing is acknowledged, mobile homes are only permitted within the designated residential mobile home zones and must be serviced by central water and sewer. Conditions are not met in this case. The subject property is zoned agriculture, where mobile homes are neither permitted nor allowed by special permit use. This would contravene the bylaw. As such, the proposal is not consistent with the town's planning policies and regulations, and refusal is recommended. And so the planning board recommend to mayor and council to refuse the proposed siting of a mobile home at 23 Lorne Valley Road, PID 876045. The refuse plans, the application form and drawings received and dated July 15th, 2025, site plan received July 15th, 2025, and CSA Z-240 confirmation received July 16th, 2025. A motion to put this on the floor. Yvette, second. Louis. All right, we're here again. Sean.
I am not going to read my thoughts on this again, but I just wanted to be understood that they stand for this one as well.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I would just like to say, in opposition, or in favor of the recommendations of the planning board, that this is a very dangerous thing to be doing. Once you go outside, if you stop obeying your own rules, that is a very slippery slope. And every applicant who comes here is going to say, you ignored the rules for them, why won't you ignore the rules for me? And I wouldn't blame them one bit. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to say that how are we going to get anything done if we don't start tonight? And I agree with John. We have to make a move, and we have to
Okay.
make our thoughts known and our feelings known, so.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to refuse the application. So again, we'll start on this side. Are we all in favor of, well, why don't we just all in favor of accepting planning board's recommendation and refusing this? So it's a yes, you're refusing it? Okay, did you get that? Okay, so it is, the motion is defeated. Okay. That's everything we have. John moves to adjourn. Oh. Motion to adjourn?
Oh,
Yeah.
who moved it? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
John. It's okay.
Who's second?
Second?
Oh, amen.
All right, thank you very much.
Love